Well, good morning, everyone. I'm sure you guys got a lot of questions about where we are right now defensively, so I'll open up the door and start taking your questions.
Coach, when you look at your linebackers, obviously you drafted a couple of them and you got a couple of holdovers. Do you know what spots these guys are going to play in yet, or are you still working on it?
We're still working on it. You know, the biggest thing is that when you really look at our linebacker core, all right, everything is versatile. Meaning right now, you talk about Mike, Sam, and Will, but it's really interchangeable.
We talked to Myles Garrett yesterday about his, desire for more freedom as a pass rusher than he feels that he had in his first two seasons here, and that he's talked to you about it and things like that. And he feels like you guys are on the same page. What's your view of Myles and kind of letting him, have more of an arsenal of pass rush moves?
Well, not just with Miles, but with all of our players. We want to make sure that we put him in the best position to be successful. And that's not trying to limit him. And I don't even know if that was the case last year, but, moving forward, that I want him, because he's so talented, to try to use all his assets.
Do you see him, though, ready to make, like, the next step, like, reach the next level this season?
I think so. I mean, it's that time, first overall pick, very talented individual, played well last year, and I think you're only going to see a continuous growth out of him each and every year.
On that tape, do you see that he was basically, he says he was only limited to two pass rush movement runs. When you watch the tape, do you see that he's just using these two and you're wondering why?
No, I really didn't even look at it in that respect. I just tried to evaluate the individual, not so much the scheme, because everything is different. Got a lot of respect for Greg. He's been in this league for a long time and has definitely proven himself. So with Miles moving forward, as long with all the other guys, again, we're just going to put him in the best position to be successful.
Are you looking for leaders to emerge on defense, or do you already have a pretty good idea who they're going to be?
It's always hard to say, when you try to identify certain leaders, you say, oh, Miles is a leader, Denzel's a leader, just because they're star players. Well, Jermaine Whitehead is a leader in my opinion, so you don't have to be that quote-unquote guy that everybody looks at. So I want all those guys to be leaders when they're out there on the field, because we need everybody communicating and talking and being on the same page.
Why do you say that about Whitehead?
Extremely smart, very intelligent, takes control when he's out there, all right, know how to really communicate and articulate the defense and get everybody on the same page.
How would a guy who maybe hasn't had all that many opportunities in his career yet in Jermaine be able to go out and show that right now? Are you surprised at all that maybe he's shown?
Not surprised at all. He's been in the league for a while. He's been on several teams, so it just shows who he is as an individual. He puts a lot of time into his craft. He studies the game a lot, and it really shows out on the field.
It might be hard to see without the pads on, but with the addition of Olivier Vernon, how has Myles Garrett's game changed? Have you noticed a difference in not having as much pressure on him with somebody on the other side?
Not so much, and it's very hard to determine right now. As you just mentioned, we don't have pads on. I like the addition, with Sheldon as well. I think those two guys are going to be great for us. Their presence in the room, not only on the field, is definitely shown up thus far. Does it take some pressure off of Myles? Maybe it does. I don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But I know those guys are going to be a major factor, either making plays or allowing Myles to make plays.
Looking at the overall capability of your group and the talent you have at your disposal to execute what you want done, how are you doing in terms of frontline talent and depth?
I think we're making progress when you really look at where we were on April the 1st, all right, and how we started out just really with phase one, phase two. You have seen the development and growth of a lot of guys. Depth, we're always looking for depth. I think you saw that with the draft and the number of guys that we picked up. So that's always going to be important, because you're going to have injuries throughout the year, and that's why it's so important as a staff that we really develop those young guys.
What are you seeing out of
Who's taking a lead in that battle for strong safety?
Oh, it's still open. It's still too early to really determine that. Everybody's going to have an opportunity to be able to get in there and showcase their talent and perform. So right now, we're just really trying to lay a great foundation. All right, really the fundamentals and technique of the position. And those guys doing a good job of really picking up the system. So again, it's too early to determine who's going to be the starters.
What did you see out of Greedy before you guys drafted him, and then how has he been in the first couple of days out here?
Well, number one, he's long, he's athletic. This game right now, you talk about look at the different receivers and the types that we have for his big body. So I love long corners. He's definitely that, very athletic, can run. And he's very physical, and that's important in the run game with me, that our corners tackle. So, again, we don't have pads on right now, but you can see that athleticism out there on the field and the way he moves around.
When you say you love corners to tackle, I mean, some people criticize that about him when he was at LSU. Have you talked to him a lot about that?
Not a lot, but he made it aware that, that he's not afraid to tackle. He just needs to understand the technique and how to do it, So that's encouraging because, again, I always say the identity of our defense is not really how physical our front seven plays, but really how our secondary, most importantly, how the corners tackle.
On that, how much emphasis do you put on tackling technique? Because a lot of corners just don't use their arms, they just try and knock the guy down.
I think you have to really, that's a fine. I think you really have to be able to teach the guys the different technique and the fundamentals, understanding exactly where their help is, within that particular play. I know Denzel last year had a situation where we come in and throw his body around a little bit, which resulted into some concussion. So we really got to teach these guys how to tackle.
Do you feel like you're in a race from the standpoint? There are staffs out there that you'll face this year that have been intact for a while on. You're facing experienced offensive coordinating staff. Do you feel like you're in a race because you're in your first year installing here?
No, not at all. Again, I think it's about layers on your defense, layers on the team. Freddie's done a good job of really setting the tone, the expectations, and really implementing the plan, not only with the coaches but the players. So I'm very confident in where we are right now and the direction in which we're going. The players are doing a great job picking up the system and executing.
Steve, specifically on Jermaine again, how is he or how could he fit in schematically with what you'd like to do defensively?
Again, he's a guy that's very smart, that can play multiple positions. All right, so you put yourself in a situation when guys get hurt, it's just really plug and play with him. So it's still early to determine, all right, but I like what he's doing, most importantly, his leadership.
How much would you like to have the option during the season of having three safeties that you trust to put on the field at the same time?
Well, I think the word that you use is trust, and that really goes with any position. But, where the game is today and how they try to spread you out quite a bit, you like to have the option to be able to put those guys on the field, so therefore you're a little bit more athletic in space.
When we first met you, you raved about Jabril Peppers. Obviously, you thought he's versatile and fit really well in your scheme, and he was traded. Does Whitehead give you some of those same traits that you really liked? That a chess piece you can move around that? Is that I guess was the door opened a little bit that way?
It is. I would say that. When you really look at the position, as the question just before you talked about, offense trying to spread you out, trying to get you into a situation and really trying to create that matchup with the linebacker. So you like to be able to try to put more athletic guys on the field in regards to another safety. So Whitehead does give you that option, but again, it's still early to determine that.
Last year, these guys really looked good on defense. What are your areas of concern maybe this year that you want to tighten up?
I think, number one, we got to do a much better job of not tackling. I know that was an issue of concern last year. And I would say this, too. This is a pass-happy league, but we got to stop the run. And gap integrity is going to be extremely important to us. I've said it over and over again, there's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than having an offense run the ball down your throat. So we got to do a great job of stopping the run and, most importantly, tackling.
Steve, you competed a lot of years against Gerald McCoy. Your opinion if he's got how much game he's got left?
I think he's a real good football player. I know he's out there now, and that's pretty much it.
When you watch Denzel on film and you see some of these things that you saw with the tackling this year, I know they harped on it a lot last year. Do you feel like you can correct these issues with this tackling?
I think it's definitely correctable. I think it's more teaching the proper technique, and that's where we are right now in this phase of OTAs. Is really giving him the fundamentals of understanding, how to tackle in certain situations, where the ball carrier is, and I also think it's important to understand where your help is coming from too.
Did you know
What does Morgan Burnett bring to this?
Veteran leadership, a guy that's been what I consider battle tested. He's been around, very smart, very intelligent. I like his physicality when he's out there. He communicates well, and that's very important on the back end when you really start talking about trying to get everybody aligned.
Did you know Demarius at all before you got here?
Demarius and I had a relationship, or really our introduction, through the draft process. I went out there and worked him out, spent a little bit of time with him one-on-one. It was a private workout, so very athletic, extremely smart guy. He's shown that over the years with his versatility and his ability to be able to get interceptions. So that's a major part of what we emphasize and talk about, is taking the ball away.
Would you like, I mean, last year they asked him to play corner sometimes. He went one-on-one against Mike Evans. Would you prefer to leave him just at free all year, or could you see him bouncing around too?
He's definitely a free safety in our system. Again, the door is always open from a standpoint of versatility, because you never know exactly how it's going to be week to week, and really trying to create the proper matchup.
When we talked to Miles yesterday, he mentioned that he thinks Larry Ogunjobi could be a Pro Bowler too. I mean, do you see that kind of potential in him?
I think Larry has it. Again, it's early, guys. We have no pads on. Larry's doing a tremendous job, and really in the method and how he practiced, I've seen him get better from day one. You know, he's doing a great job in the meeting, picking the system up, and most importantly, coming out here executing. So he has the talent and the skill set. We'll see how it goes.
To use Vernon as the point of reference for a question, you look at a guy like him through the prism of you know what he has been in his past, or do you look at it more by way of imagining what he will be in this system?
I think it's a little bit of both. You know exactly what you're getting from a standpoint of the player. You've seen his skill set over the years and his ability to be able to change the complexity of a game. And I'm hoping he can do the same thing for us. The guy can rush the passer, but most importantly, again, it's just that emphasis for stopping the run. I think he's going to complement Sheldon as well as Miles.
How do you feel about blending some of your best defensive players over special teams?
This is a team game, and special teams is a major part of what we do. And the point of emphasis to the defensive guys is that, you know, I hope we're all on special teams. Some of these guys, that's how they're going to make the team. So in order for us to get to where we're going, special teams is going to be a major part of that. So the defensive guys definitely going to have to show up.
Steve, with what you've talked about, the way offenses work right now and needing guys who can work in space, and when you think about your linebackers specifically and what you know of Kirksey and Schobert, how do you feel about their ability to do what you really want linebackers to do in this year?
You guys saw Joe last year. I think, you know, you saw his ability to be able to perform out in space. I think he does that well. Joe's extremely smart, and smart players know how to put themselves in position to be successful. Kirksey, athletic, he's smart, physical guy. I think these guys can run. You have to have that matchup with these talented tight ends that can get vertical down the field. I think we have that in these two linebackers, but also when they're able to split out in space over the slot receiver. You know, so I have no problem with these guys playing out in space.
You had mentioned in your news conference that a really strong free technique can do a lot for a pass rush, just opening up things for other guys on the line. How does Sheldon Richardson fit into that now that you guys have him?
I think he fits right into that mode, and when you go back and look at his history and his past, you've seen him dominate inside at times like that, and that's what we're expecting him to do, because again, it puts us in a situation to where they can't always slide one way or the other, and if they do, it's going to open up things on the opposite side. But most importantly is that ability to push the pocket, all right, and try to get the quarterback flushed outside to OV as well as Miles. So I think Sheldon's going to do a great job inside for us.